Thanks to the Ueno Libra, Slate, and Quartz, I thought about creating another vehicle to the company's lineup. With this new car, I thought about experimenting the K-car segment by creating a realistic K-car to see how well it performs on the market. Hey guys, it's TRIZE here, and let's continue managing my car company, which we're over $2 billion, because we're doing numbers with the Libra, the frickin' XL full-size coupe, the mid-size Ueno Quartz, and the city car, the Ueno Slate. So first things first, let's try out the K-car market by clicking on the car projects and nice pimped out Supra, and click on new car project. And we're definitely going to be targeting, seeing as this small, the city eco car lineup. So in terms of building a K-car within this time period of the late 80s and what we got available, seeing they're not really prominent in the game, I'm going to be choosing this here 88 EU hatch 3-door XS CPP car body, a hatchback that's 2.2 meters in wheelbase. So with the car chassis, we'll start the panel material at a good old steel as per usual. Later I'll probably try out a partial aluminum, probably in the 90s and so on. Monocoque chassis, galvanized steel with the chassis material. And seeing it's going to be a small boy, engine placement, of course, front transverse with McPherson strut front and a rear, I guess, torsion beam because of simplicity and everything. For the engine, of course, we have to keep it within K-car regulations, and seeing it's going to take a while to build a car, I'm probably going to jump into the 660cc regulations. So inline 3 beta cast iron, and get this down to around 660 cubic centimeters. So I guess for the bore rating, we'll keep it at 66 millimeters and a stroke at 64.3 millimeters to get up to the legal requirement of 660 cubic centimeters. And again, in terms of simplicity, a single overhead cam, I guess 4 valves per cylinder, made of aluminum to lower the amount of weight for the engine and kind of boost up a little bit in power. So for the bottom end, I guess cast everything except for the pistons at a hyper-eutectic cast because of low emissions, and it can boost up a little bit in terms of power, and we're quite familiar with this at 51.8%. For the others, forged. Damn, I gotta start doing forged pistons more often, and yes, forged. And seeing it's an odd number of cylinders, I guess we have to have, we'll probably do a harmonic damper, maybe balancing shaft. It could be required because of vibrations and everything. The top end, like the compression, I'm not too sure. I'm guessing 8.5, 8.5 to 1 ratio for now. 5,500 RPM for the RPM limit. We'll probably do this a little bit later. And for the fuel system, to modernize ourselves in a way, instead of just relying on carburetors, which was very prominent, it is prominent in this time period, let's just blow the competition away by trying out an injection, specifically a single-point electronic fuel injector in this here engine with a straight out compact intake manifold, seeing I rarely use this in my other builds. And the headers too, we'll probably try compact again and make the exhaust size probably an inch with a 3-way cat. No first, second reverse flow muffler, and we got quite a bit to go in terms of the RPM mode, damn. So the RPM mode, let's just jack this up quite a bit, maybe 65 could do. Or pretend the Suzuki Alto works and everybody else in general, and just do that, but we can't. So theoretically, we can use a balancing shaft which will significantly improve the smoothness rating at a 61.6 with the balancing shaft. Without it, with a harmonic damper, we'll be at a 49.2 because, like I mentioned earlier, we got an odd number of cylinders, so there will be an increase of vibrations having a harmonic damper or no form of balancing mass whatsoever, which will improve power and lower high-end RPM stress reliability. And the engine has a crap ton of unutilized octane. Yes, sir. So after a brief tune with this car, I did settle with adding a balancing shaft to improve the smoothness factor and to be more familiar with this for our engineers as time goes on. So a quick overview of the stats in general. So we get a horsepower rating right here at 33 horsepower, 5,000 RPM of a torque rating of 41 pounds-feet of torque at 3,300 RPM. So this was fairly prominent back in the day, mainly with the 550cc engines, probably around like 30, high 20s horsepower rating or something like that, but seeing around the corner, it's going to be 1990 in just 3.5 years. I might as well jump into the 660 engine size requirement and get on board and get a fairly decent horsepower rating, and especially an MPG rating once we put this on the car, once we finish it up. So let's give you a listen of this i3, specifically K-Car i3 engine right here. So a fairly basic K-Car spec i3 engine overall with a crankshaft reliability rating at almost 10,000 RPM. We're not even close to that. We could settle with is 6,000 RPM. Now for the car build, so for the drive type, our only option, front wheel drive, transverse front wheel drive with a manual 4-speed for simplicity's sake. With the top speed set, okay, hear me out on this for top speed. With the speed limiter on here, I cannot drop this to 50 miles an hour, which is roughly 80 kilometers per hour, which was the requirement and by law of a speed limit for these kinds of cars. The lowest I can go is 75 miles per hour, so unfortunately for trying to make this a realistic K car for real life and everything, the lowest we have to go is, indeed, 75 miles an hour. So for the actual top speed for the car, around 86 miles an hour, so let's just drop this to 95. So we can improve our MPG with the overdrive. And second of all, if I were to drop this, still, I cannot reach the 50 mile an hour top speed in terms of the freaking gearing. So for the tires, they're going to have to be some small boys, so radial hard long life, and it claims 159? I'm thinking 135 just to be safe than sorry, and 14-inch rims, I guess 13s will have to do. I mean, they seem big at 14s, 13s will probably do, the more premium models will probably have 14s and above. For the brakes, seeing that disc brakes are not really that necessary for a small and lightweight car, drum it is, 220s up front, drum single shoe, there's a 2 shoe up front, single shoe in the back, 200, and probably drop these. For the under tray, she'll have no under tray with the brake airflow at a 20. And for the interior, seeing that this is a small boy girl, this and that up in here, I'm guessing maybe a 2-seater, 2 full-size front seats up front, and reduced size seats in the back. I'll probably debate on making this a 2x2 or just a 2-seater only. I mean, you can fit the 2 seats, and you probably can get nothing in the back. Maybe like a parcel shelf, and the rest will be just trunk space. So start off with a 2x2 with a standard interior and a standard cassette player. Next for the driver and safety aids, again, very lightweight car, manual rack and pinion power steering. It's not that necessary doing hydraulics. And saying that this car is slow, who needs ABS brakes when you know how to drive the damn car? And we're not familiar with ABS brakes. Oh my god, engineering time 29.29 versus not doing ABS brakes. I guess we're not freaking Chrysler and everybody that has ABS brakes back then, but screw it. 1980 safety standards, finally for suspension. I guess standard everything, standard twin tube passive, normal preset, and in terms of steering graph, pretty good, and, ooh, nice. City Eco, 66 demographic match, normalized desirability, 169.9%, that is perfectly nice. And look at this here, MPG rating, 46.6 miles per gallon, not the best in comfort rating, and so on. And like I mentioned about being lightweight, 1,433.5 pounds, just under 1 US ton. And a 0 to 60 rating in a harrowing 20.4 seconds. And the brakes are 2 OP. God damn. I mean, we got some brake fade. Maybe drop the pad type a little bit. And of course, the rear brake force. That is more like it. And that is more like it too. Alright, so doing the final tune of this car, we got the City Eco rating at a normalized desirability of 204.4%, demographic match 71.4%, so this is going to be a pretty damn good car all around. Okay, now I'm done. I just jacked the ride height by just 8mm to really finalize the car. So a brief little rundown, an overview of the stats and specs and everything. So for the name of the car and the engines, first of all, name the car. This car would be called the Ueno Quartz, which is Japanese for Valley. And of course, as they usually make by trim levels, the SE standard issue lineup. And for the naming of the engine here, I'm probably going to overhaul how I name the engine instead of calling L this, V that for the family name. because sooner or later, I'm probably going to unleash my next generation Ueno Quartz S-Type, which pretty much started the Ueno car company under my Mr. Jack and 000 days like 3 or 4 years ago. So the family name will be just simply EK Series, meaning it's the ecological K family of engines. This will be the EK60i, which EK stands for, of course, the EK series of the family of the engine. 60 stands for the 660 cubic centimeters, and the I stands for fuel injected. This will probably how I will name my engines from now on, later on throughout this campaign series. So we got the SE car all done. I'll probably create a couple clones, probably get the SL, and maybe consider an SR lineup like a turbocharged K car. And despite the SE's problems with the car's low capacity, the car bottoming out, which is interesting for small cars, same through the high roll angle, it's like these two are like the bane of making small cars on here for this game, no matter what you do with the suspension. And going on with the other two, the lack of power steering, which you're not going to do, and the clearance to the front of the engine being narrow. Interesting. Let's create the other two trims with this car, the Tani.
That's how it's pronounced.
So with the SL level of the Tanny in this Caucasian human type of color, skin color, I'll probably keep it at a 4-speed, and everything with the rest of the car, it's just more or less just the interior. So let's just jack up the interior to a premium, and convert this to a regular old city car too. Same thing with the premium cassette player, and it's still a good eco car, and a good city car, despite a great comfort rating. What if I clone the EK series and make this a dual overhead cam? And even for the original EK series, I'm probably going to add SOHC 4-valve to differentiate between the dual overhead cam and the single overhead cam variants once I put this together. So, dual overhead cam. By 2 horsepower. But it does improve the fuel engine efficiency, which will improve MPG rating to almost 49 miles per gallon. I guess for the dual overhead cam version, I'll probably give them a 37 horsepower motor of a torque rating of 42.9 pounds-feet of torque. And apparently there's a wheel spin in Gear 1, 15.2%. Imagine wheel spinning in a K car like this. And not only that, we improved the 0 to 62 by, what, over 2 seconds? So to finalize the SL's build, so damn, 100% drivability in terms of steering graph over and understeer, slow speed, not that bad. So city factor, 189.8% normalized desirability, match is at a 69.2, but it's still considered an eco car because we're rolling with the frickin' i3 at 47.1 miles per gallon. Let me look at my single overhead cam. Like, what's the difference in MPG? Oh wow, since since I made the adjustment to go dual overhead cam 4-valve with the single overhead cam, god damn it. I guess we don't really have a choice, can we? So the single overhead cam would have put out almost 47 miles per gallon. Everything all good because those flashed me saying like, oh hey, there's a problem. Fix it. Now. And yeah, 0 to 62, 20 seconds. So with the Tanny SL's engine, I just bumped up the intake manifold to a standard mid and bumped the horsepower rating to just 37 horsepower, 39.8 pounds-feet, and added the L for the more luxurious, higher performance-ish, performance-y this and that model of the engine. And hey, 0 to 62 in 18.5 seconds with this trim level of the car. Alright, now we should be good with the SL, so pretty much same types of problems that we got going here. I think I'll probably do the SR, put a turbo on this thing. Let's just do the SR. I could really go balls deep and probably do like a Type S model or Type whatever model and really go hard in the paint, but we got like a 62 horsepower requirement, like the limit of building a K car engine. So clone variant of the EK60 and call this the IT for the turbocharged version of the engine. And of course, drop that compression. Probably an 8 will probably have to do. Turbocharger, fire away. Drop the saw. Damn, right away we're doing good in power, but turbo lag kick it in, yo. Alright, automation AI, do your job. Help me out, please. Damn, compressor stress going in hard. Alrighty, so after fine-tuning this here turbo after what Automation's AI has calculated for me, We get the EK60IT's horsepower rating at 53 horsepower, 5,500 RPM, torque 58.3 pounds-feet of torque, 3,900 RPM. And I did choose this to be a regular old fun car, which the factors is kind of low. Probably because the speed limiter, I guess, and even the turbo grid here. It did bring the surge stress down to like 2%, but after fine-tuning this little by little, I did increase to a little bit of 2.2, which shouldn't really hamper the reliability standing whatsoever once we jump on over to fine-tune the car. And 0-60 at 12.7 seconds. Pretty decent, to say the least. Alright, so made necessary adjustment to the SR model. 12.9 0-62 time, and improved the tires, some sports compounds, 155s front and the back. Put some solid disc, single solid disc brake up front, kept it to a drum in the back. No changes to the aerodynamics, I'll probably put a small spoiler on it once I design the car later on. And what's interesting, instead of doing a sport interior for this trim level here, kept it to a premium and premium, because adding a sport interior drops the demographic match quite, not considerably, but a bit for the fun factor because it lowers the comfort rating, which the game will complain once we drop to that threshold. Steering still the same, suspension, just sport tuned suspension, jack the ride height just a little bit. So this will conclude the build of the Ueno Tanny. I'll do the design later on, so for the problems with the vehicle, relatively the same, and also I did improve it by a half a horsepower to remedy a knocking issue. So let's click on the check mark and go back and deal with the Ueno Quartz and my other cars. So the Ueno Quartz, my mid-size car, will be a family car as per usual. This will be the 3rd generation model. I'm going to keep that in mind once it loads up here to build a car, and this is not how you build a car game. So for the car I'll be choosing will be this 2.64 meter base wheel body, the 90s luxury medium wheelbase sedan body at our preview with the Quartz, 3rd generation Quartz, and seems Aston Martin Lagonda to me, eh? Maybe something else, but I might choose this. Let's find out. Alright, update this to the 84 AU sedan 5-door small CPP, another 2.6 meter wheelbase body, which is a little bit more fitting to the last cars in a way. So kind of like the other cars, steel, monocoque, galvanized steel, pretty much the agenda of our cars for now. And seeing that my next gen car, well, it's unfortunate too, if I go with a model body, seeing that I want to bring out the Quartz from my old channel days, unfortunately, this is locked because I can only pick a car body starting from 1987. So if you were hyped from that one community post, this will probably have to wait till another video. I probably scammed you out for now, but in the next video, the automation campaign, that will happen. Because the car and the design is done. I just gotta bring it in somehow to the campaign version here and see how it sells in this campaign, this version of the game. And realistically, per se, this car would be a front transverse, but in honorary of the Gen 4, no choice but to do front longitudinal, made this a rear drive car, and probably the Gen 5 will be front wheel drive with a front transverse engine. And for the engine, I'm thinking about reusing an engine rather than building a new one. Let me find out here, and what's the problem with this engine? Incomplete? Huh? There is nothing wrong with it, like, you mad bro or what? It still is bad, incomplete. What's the problem? I guess we'll bust out the LK series engine, which is 88 horsepower, and what's gonna happen here, seeing that this is an old engine? I think I have to make a facelift, don't I, to make some adjustments, or what? Alright kids, what's gonna happen if I do engine facelift? Alright, so what I got loaded is the LK16i, the injected one. I'm not gonna focus on the older carbureted model because, well, carbs are outdated, yo. And let's see what I can do to make this engine better. Well, this was pretty simple. Just a cam profile, RPM, and that was it. Maybe some adjustments to header size. Horsepower rating, 90 horsepower, torque, 100.2 pounds-feet of torque. This will probably do for the I, the injection model, and the PI, the performance injection version. Let's find out. Wow, not much of a difference when I jumped in here. I guess we could probably bump it up to a multi-point to get familiar with this type of fuel system, and bumps up the power, of course. And what else? Compression, unused octane. Yes, sir. I guess we'll cue my OCD once again with the PI engine. 108 horsepower, 110.2 pounds-feet of torque, but it's on the high side. 5,300 RPM in terms of the engine RPM, where it peaks out in horsepower. Torque at 5,000 RPM. Damn. So finalize this engine, and hope to God we're not going to run into any, like, issues in terms of production when it comes to making the Quartz Gen 3 and so on with the facelift engines, because I have to sign those off once I'm done with the car. So yes, it does update in terms of the horsepower and everything, so that is good for now, and I did get started with the drivetrain. So this is going to be a commoner car, so front wheel drive it is, manual 4 speed, top speed about 120. Not too bad. It's 123, so we don't jump up into tire cost here. And we'll see it tires. Hard long life it is. Damn, 205s for the 80s. Guessing 185s front and back. Because my first car was a 195s front and back, and I believe these were 15-inch rims. Yeah, because back in the day, my first car had 195 tires, the wood front and back, and 15-inch rims like this guy here. The brakes, solid disc, probably one piston to start things off, like a 230, maybe a solid disc again, 200. And of course, no under tray, brake airflow as per usual. Let's do 20 from now on just to improve some cooling, but not too sacrificial with the engineering time. Add 5-seater, 2 in the front, 3 in the back, standard, McDandard, and driver safety aids. Hydraulic, I guess. No ABS brakes for now. Standard 80s safety standards. Standard, twin, everything normal. And everything is bad about the car. Brakes, tires are wide, brake fade, decent MPG rating, and decent 0 to 62 for a front-wheel drive car. And yes, I totally agree with you, Dad. So with the necessary, get rid of the freaking replacement, necessary changes with the Quartz 3, the regular family car market is at a 70.8 demographics badge, 114.7 normalized desirability, and quite affordable, 49%. And semi-decent MPG rating, almost 29, 28.8 miles per gallon to be specific. So pretty much kind of like how I built the Tanny, other than putting solid disc brakes front and back for the base level car. And I did up this to a 5-speed manual because the SL will be an automatic and all that. And even second of all, I think I should use rack and pinion, a hydraulic rack and pinion, I mean, versus manual. So let me see. So normalized desirability went up. Demographic batch, let's see. 78.5, 70.8, 114. Is normalized desirability like the real selling factor? Like it really gets people like intrigued to buying the car, or a demographic batch? I believe demographic batch is a little bit more targeted to people, and normalized desirability is like a deciding factor, I believe. And not only that, about a 3 mile per gallon improvement by just putting a manual steering. Damn, man! For MPG's sake, and to flex it everybody, I guess manual for now, SL will be the hydraulic rack and pinion, and probably when we get to the late 90s, this will be rack and pinion hydraulic steering no matter what, as standard, no matter what trim level it is. So we'll call this car final, the basic trim level, with the car's low capacity being too low, current distribution being very, very narrow, lack of power steering, and brake fade. Who cares for now? So let's jump into the SL and the SR of the Quartz Gen 3. So for the SL level, I'm going to be keeping the same LK16 injected engine. I'm not going to use the PI engine. I'm going to save that to the SR lineup. And for the heck of it, for the first time in corporate history, let's try out some ABS brakes, seeing that this is the 1980s, where you slap on the ABS badge like somewhere's in the back to turn people on. It's got an anti-lock braking system. Let's see what it's like turning this on. So, family premium, 87 119, or damn it, 78 119. I can't read today, so ABS brakes, despite not being familiar with it. And jumping up the engineering time, 77 123-ish, and not affordable, Jesus. Despite the demographic batch being down a little, normalized desirability went up just a little bit, so for the sake of bragging about technology, I guess the bump up is a good trade-off. It has pretty issue with the SL, low load capacity, and clearance issues at the front. And for the heck of it, seeing that this is the sedan SL lineup, I'm kind of thinking, seeing that this is a 3-door model, a coupe, and it's still marked as a sedan, I'm kind of thinking for the SE lineup, is make that as a 2-door, and this will be like a 4-door and above. I'm gonna do that real quick. Continue to make this a 4-door by first changing the color. Okay, now I can really differentiate between the SE and SL lineup, so finish up the design of this car only. And off camera, change it to a 2-door for the SE and create the SL, or clone the SL trim and make the SR version of the Quartz. So turning that into a 2-door, the demographic batch dropped down to 113.3% and roughly a few tenths off of the demographic match. So hopefully that won't be a big compromise turning that into a 2-door. And of course the SR will indeed be a 2-door and be marked as a family sport itself, I guess. And we'll reuse the PI LK series engine, the 108 horsepower motor, and for the heck of it, let's swap this to rear drive. What's it like? Drop in 0 to 62 and elsewhere? Let's see. Apparently, Family Sport is really high demographic and normalized desirability match, 60, 133 with front wheel drive. Rear drive increases demographic match, but drops normalized desirability because the desirability factor dropped down, sportiness went up. Alright, made the necessary changes to the Gen 3 SR level Quartz with some wider tires, upgraded brakes, an under tray for the first time, and why did the brake force drop? Okay, I was saying, upgraded brakes, better interior, no ABS brakes, kept it a hydraulic, and suspension, a sport preset, and again, check the right height. And Family Sport claims 69.5% demographic batch, normalized desirability 146.4%. And very affordable with 2 trims that we're competing against. Unutilized fuel octane, but who cares about that? So the problems, rear dampers are hard, engine unutilized fuel octane, so I guess we'll design our 3rd car right here. I guess we'll probably do the Ueno Crane, our compact car. So I need to build one more car as I'm pretty much going to be maxed down in terms of my factory size. I'm probably going to bring back the Ueno Porous, my hatchback fastback car from the 60s. Because this was marketed as a fun car back then with the SC, right there, SC and SR, Ueno Porous, 1968. It's frozen. Good. Let's see if there's any fastbacks to bring up a 2nd-gen Porous, though, along the way to Ueno Porous. You know what, kids? Let's go balls deep, seeing that there's no liftback bodies. Let's build a frickin' estate. This Legacy car body is mod type of estate. 2.53 meter wheelbase. I guess that's what I have to do for now. I'm pretty much out of ideas to make the freaking Ueno Porous a 2nd-gen model and bring back the Ueno Crane, seeing that I want a variety of cars and just sedans, or sedans and hatchbacks. So, steel, monocoque, the usual, and the usual, Volume 2 for modern day cars, transverse, and I guess the usual. Watch this, watch this. Yeah. And the engine... I can continue with the LK, but I want to think about making another usable engine. So let's create a brand new one, Family 1 Variant 1, which will be not that. Let's do something random. GH series. Yes, Variant 1, we'll build an engine and think about it. So I'm probably going to be making another 6-cylinder. But this time, this will be probably a V60 degree V6 engine. See, I rarely build V6s in this game. But this will be a small boy, so cast iron, for the heck of it, dual overhead cam 4-valve. Just so we get used to this engine, or use the technology with dual overhead cams once we build the Gen 4 Ueno Quartz, especially the S-Type, because it uses dual overhead cam 4-valves in that engine. But we are also limited by size. Probably make this like a 2-point-something. Alright kids, let's make a wannabe 6G71 engine by Mitsubishi with a 74.6mm bore of a 76mm stroke to get it to 1,993 cubic centimeters, or about a 2-liter engine, with a single overhead cam 2 valves per cylinder made out of aluminum like its real-life counterpart. I'll probably warrant this to maybe a 3-4 valves or a dual overhead cam if needed. I might probably do dual overhead cam, maybe. Let's find out. And our company's agenda, hypereutetic, harmonic because baby of the engine layout. The fuel system, I guess single again, maybe multi-point, I don't know, for the higher up models. But let's start with single, then multi for the higher up models. Headers, Kesty, and single for now. I'll probably do dual, but single for now. And where are we at? 99.7. So for the GH series GH20 engine, I also did improvements to a single aerocam 4 valves per cylinder for this basic 2-liter engine. So we get the horsepower rating of this naturally aspirated bottle of 113 horsepower, 5600 RPM, of a torque rating of 123.9 pounds-feet of torque at 3400 RPM. So this is pretty much the horsepower rating for a 2-liter V6 engine, the 6G71 made by them back in the day. I know Chrysler and them put a supercharger on it to make 140 horsepower with the Diamond Air and a couple other cars, I believe, if I recall correctly. Which will probably match that with the SR model once we tune this bad boy later on. So let's give you a listen to this V6 engine for the first time using a V6 engine in quite a while. So let's just give you a listen here right now. Does sound like my first car in a way, because that car had a 6G73, the 2.5 liter engine made by Mitsubishi, but we're using, in terms of size, the 7.1 with the 2 liter engine. So, front wheel drive, I guess it being the base level model SC, good old manual, again 5-speed. And top speed, 120 miles an hour. Not too bad, I guess. And the tires up, damn, 225s in the back. Man, this is a little bit extreme, man. What's it say? 100. Yeah, let's drop these quite a bit. Brakes, I guess solid disc 1s up front. 225s. Maybe drums in the back. I'll think about it. No under tray as per usual. Brake airflow, let's keep it at a 20 as per usual. Interior, standard. This is going to be a 5-seater, 3. Yes, 2 up front, 3 in the back. Because, well, it's a station wagon, in a state, whatever you call it. I guess manuals to start off with, no aids, 80 safety standards, suspension, it's just standard stuff, normal, and some understeering right away. And this ain't a fun car, so I'm gonna update this to family utility budget? So it appears the utility market requires a very high stat of practicality, and we're at a 53.3. The competitor or competition's got a 55.8. And this is the most important one out of all of them. Sportiness, I don't even care. Comfort, they do care about it, but their competitors aren't really the best at it. Drivability, well, they're better at it because we're understeering as of right now. And as expected, brakes suck. Drop the brakes. They don't suck no more. Okay, by just clicking on progressive springs, now we're talking in terms of practicality, and normally desirability went up quite a bit, but demographic match is still a mid. Dude, I'd rather have this as a fleet car. We're gonna Freddie Van Fleet. So for the SC lineup of Model 1, let's not call it Model 1, and damn, 0 to 62, 9.3 seconds. Well, we got a V6 making 13 horsepower, where we're at? Yeah, 113 horsepower, and yes, I guess my 4 cylinders need a reality check. It's almost like I should use this engine for the SR lineup and the 4 cylinders for this car, but I don't want to overwork my workers by putting too many of the LK 4-cylinder engines to be used on this car here and the Ueno Quartz to reduce the chances of people being overworked by factories and not being up to quota and deliver all the cars in time because of them being overworked. Okay, so for the estate wagon model of this car, this will be called the Ueno Tribal. Just simply Ueno Tribal for this car here, all of our wagon lineups for our portfolio. And for the heck of it, is it better putting on a different suspension? Like, let's try double wishbone. Decent. Let me check out the old one. Yeah, what up? So let's try semi-trailing arm for the heck of it. Decent also. I'll probably finalize on semi-trailing arm for the suspension, not torsion, because it's not a compact car. I mean, 2.53 and a... what's the size here? 4.43 meters in length, 1.76 meters in width. I won't say compacty, but mid-size E to a point. Let's see if this base level tribal, the station wagon, is good enough here. So again, brief overview of the base level car. Went up by 1/10 of the 062, who cares? And despite the low load capacity, as per usual, it seems like these damn cars. Brake fade issues, this will be corrected with the SL lineups and above. There's like 1% brake fade for the front and back. Like experience factor utility-wise, tires are wide, especially the back. A car's weight, power steering, no power steering, cruise front end should be quite wide, and unutilized fuel octane. It's like it wanted me to do like a 10 or 11 point some to 1 ratio, which is kind of unrealistic for a car like this. So, let's do the higher up trim levels right now of this car. You know what, go back to the SC. Let's just do a gamble and bring out the LK series engine, and the GH will be for the upper echelon, the SL car, as well as the SR. So worse off, 0 to 60 times, let's do 115 for the top speed, 11.6 right here. And desirability, a demographic match went up, and normalized desirability about the same. I guess it was a better choice putting a 4-cylinder than the 6-cylinder. Alright, so with the 4-cylinder, low capacity, rear tires being wide, power steering issues, and slight brake fade, because it's just a little notice here. Not like a consider part where it's better off fixing this than really fixing it if it's flashing red at you. But the low load capacity, the best way to do this is like put this to a sports setting, but I'm not really going to do that because it's going to lower the comfort rating and everything just to cure the load problem here. So, let's go on the SL lineup and keep the 6-cylinder because, of course, SE, LK16i, and the GH series engine will be for the SL lineup and above with the SR performance level. So, of course, kept the 6-cylinder and very superficial changes to the automatic 4-speed. Tires are about the same except for alloy rims. Brakes have been upgraded to Venedisc up front, solid in the back. To drop the brake fade, nothing with the under tray. Interior been upgraded to a premium ABS brakes, hydraulic racket pinion, progressive springs, gas mounted dampers, and readjustments with the suspension. And now with this car, low capacity, pretty much the same. So let's jump in with the SR lineup of this car. So, with the GH20 IT of the Ueno Tribal SR, with this turbo setup we got going here, which isn't that the bad, not the best, or the greatest, this and that. Horsepower is at 167 horsepower. Torque, about the same, 168.8 pounds-feet of torque, which is not too bad for an engine like this. Especially for a pretty low power-to-weight ratio once let's go here. So, 167 horsepower. The car weighs about almost 1.25 tons. 2,544.45 pounds, round this up. Not too bad. Of a somewhat yay-sized powerful motor for a lightweight car, 2,500 pounds. That's somewhat lightweight for a car engine like this. And now, let me quote-unquote, is there a coupe? Kind of? No coupe estate. That sucks. So let's SRify this by making it more sporty and this and that. And for the heck of it, for the first time, let's try out a clutch limited slip differential for this car here, seeing it makes this much power and a crap ton of wheel spin as I try to combat it. And about a 7-second 0 to 62, but tires are a problem. So the car's now tuned 0 to 60 about 7 seconds even. Damn, that is not too bad. So put some sports compound tires. I can't increase the fronts anymore because, well, as we can see with the side of the body, the wheel well with this legacy car body. It's like a original UE4 body or the key engine body from back in the day, because I can't extend this out like logically in automation no more. So 185s will have to do, and it puts up 16s in this bad boy. All Venedisc front and back, 2 pistons up front, a little bit upgraded brake caliper, semi-quad under tray, sport premium cassette, still hydraulic steering despite people hate it, but we have to be a little more realistic in a way, and sport suspension. So now, seeing that we got all 3 of our cars, I'm going to complete the design for the Tribal and go back to the Ueno Tanny, and get to designing with these 3 cars. So let's start things off with the Ueno Tanny, and get to designing on this car by first going to the SE model, and head on to fixtures and prepare to design this car off camera and the rest of cars. So the Ueno Tanny, the Quartz Gen 3 model, and the Ueno Tribal will all be designed off camera, so it's going to take several hours to do so with an exterior as well as an interior if I can with these cars. So, I'll see you once I get all these cars designed.
2 days
worth of designing.
Later.
Alrighty, so after those many days of designing all 3 of these cars here, so starting off with the Ueno RK car. So brief overview, so with the front end, I kinda got like some of the idea off of the Suzuki Alto, the 3rd generation model from the 1980s, early 1980s. I think it's the pre-facelift model if I'm right or wrong. I mainly got the inspiration from these square headlights, and I know the bottom grille is a bit bigger than the real-life Alto, along with a split grille with a top grille up here, a bottom grille, and the trademark Ueno U logo dead center between the grilles, along with a turn signal on the bottom and a quote-unquote fog light or auxiliary light, which was common on a bunch of Japanese cars back in the day. The side's pretty basic, and they're all coupes for the SE, SL, and SR lineups of this car. And so for the back end, this slightly screams Alto from the back end with the taillights set up in specific of how I kinda got this set up here. And on top of the back end, seeing that we got the license plate in the back end, especially on the bumper, rather being mounted on the hatch portion of the vehicle, I decided to add a couple of these unique little license plate readers, some like, I don't know specifically what you call these, I know they're license plate fixtures, but like these kind of license plate lights that were prominent on some vehicles, especially Japanese vehicles, back in the day. And I also got some pimped out hinges for the actual window and a little grab handle to lift up the window, even though this is basically a windshield washer nozzle. But just pretend it's a freaking handle. And looking at the interior of the vehicle, it's just all cloth seats for the front seats as well as the back seats. And I did use the basic 1980s fixtures pack with the speedometer, the dashboard, center console, the handbrake, and the manual gear shifter, with a mixture of the original 1980s mod pack with the brake, gas, and clutch pedals, the actual key to start up the vehicle, and all that good stuff. So making the jump to the Ueno SL, so for the door guards here, instead of being the glossy plastic color, so the front, back, as well as the sides are all chromed out, including coloring in the grille bars for the top grille as well as the bottom grille. And even too, chromed out the license plate readers instead of having them chrome like the SE level. And I should probably like add some more trim fixes in the future, like maybe do like the SE LX for the SL, and maybe GT for the step below from the SR, and SR will be SR, and the top of the line sport model will be like E-type, S-type, or whatever type. So instead of just having 3 trim levels, we're going to probably expand in the future. Probably when they release the Gen 4 Quartz, because they don't know how to anticipate for years for body styles and everything in general. So for the interior, tan seats, tan leather seats everywhere. You got the darker tan on the outsides, lighter tan on the insides, including wood grain for the door cards, as well as tan leather for the armrests, as well as most of the accents here, along with some tan plastic on the door cards too, and as well as the dashboard, including a tan steering wheel, tan leather wrap steering wheel, and some basic sliders for the climate control system. Unlike the SE model, this does not have climate control, but the SL and above do have climate control. Now finally for this model is the Tanny SR, so starting with the front end, of course, red everything along with the red SR badge, plastered on the front as well as on the side with the SOHC 4 valves EFI turbo, kind of like the Suzuki Alto Works, the performance model, and a bunch of other Japanese cars, including the Toronto like E86, and some other cars too. I believe didn't Daihatsu Move have it, the SR XX? Where they plaster like everything, like the valves, the turbocharger, fuel injected, how many valves does it have? And they just plaster it like big on the side of the vehicle, both sides, to tell you what's in this engine and what trim level it is. Just like what I got here, mounted on the door trim, the plastic trim on the side, that's painted red. And of course, SR badging, and as well for the interior, I pretty much, like per usual, red leather seats with a black accents in the middle of them, and some pure red leather seats for the back seats, because unfortunately for this model of seats, I can't go two-tone or no-tone, that and that tone, this and that tone. So I have like partially black leather and partially red leather, so I had to stick, for my only choice for this fixture is red leather seats. So door cards, black leather accents, as well as the red leather for the armrest, and plastic everywhere, and a semi-sporty steering wheel. Now let's jump up to the next car, the Ueno Tribal. So with the Ueno Tribal that's still armed with the LK16 engine, the 90 horsepower motor, so the front end, pretty boxy and average like most vehicles were. So the headlights are fairly basic, just a couple of semi-circular headlights with a custom patchwork mod, like patch done to add the glass, this specific type of glass coloring for the headlights that don't interfere with the turn signals that wrap around from the front as well as the sides seen here. And to serve as a design predecessor to the Quartz Gen 4, a so-called split grille for the bottom, along with a little bar that pretty much will resemble the Gen 4 Quartz. The sides are pretty basic, it's just the same body mold that I chose with this exact car body here. And for the back end, I heavily replicated and made inspiration to design of a Mitsubishi Sigma station wagon from the mid to early 1980s, with the brake light placement, turn signal, and reverse lights. But I believe the brake lights were on top, the turn signal on the bottom, and the reverse light, kind of like where this is at, but on the bottom here. Along with the Ueno word marking on the left side of this little plastic trim here, along with the model name, Tribal, on the right side. And the interior, well, also got a third brake light in case we want to export this car overseas, quote-unquote overseas, to like America, this and that, and Europe. Backseat is interior, fairly basic yet again. So the SE does have climate control, unlike the Ueno Tanny, it does not. So same kind of seating setup, just black cloth, dark gray accents for the cloth material of the seats, the floorboard pure gray cloth, and plastic, more cloth on the door cards, everything else in general, still manual windows for the base level version of the car. And same odometer, dashboard, the fixtures for the center console, gear shifter, and a different steering wheel for this particular model, this car. And for the back end, especially the trunk space of this vehicle here, instead of just putting a parcel shelf and just call it a day for this car, especially being a station wagon, I did my best to cover up the entire back end, stop having a seizure, the back end of the vehicle, including the trim to the sides of the vehicle, the trunk space, as well as the door for it. And could you please disappear, Mr. Wiper Blade? So instead of having the chassis exposed and seeing all white chrominess and everything where you normally put all your stuff in the back, I put everything on here, from the little wheel well fixtures that's kind of bumping up against the trim to the best of my abilities, as well as creating a trim for all around the back end of the vehicle, which also applies for the Ueno Tanny, this car, and the Ueno Quartz Gen 3 model. And stepping up to the SL version, I do have some fairly basic quote-unquote auxiliary slash fog lights on the front end here, which is fairly primitive. And I did expand the bottom grille out to add these custom vents to cool off the brakes a little bit more and to add some sportiness, per se. And I add a tow hitch if you want to use this car to tow stuff or whatever that you want to tow with. And also more about the GH engine, if I go to the engine family section, I did expand the actual engine, the grandfather engine, to a 2.5 liter engine of an 82.5 bore, 78 stroke to get it just above 2.5 liters. So in the future, I'll probably make like a 2.5, 2.3, or 2. Whatever liter engine rather than relying on the GH20 of the 74.6 bore, 76 stroke of the wannabe 6G71 engine in terms of the bore and stroke size of 113 horsepower. Oh, also highlight here too, I did add the little ABS badging which is seen on both the Tribal and the Quartz SL models to highlight like cars back in the day, especially the 80s and 90s, where they scream at you saying, oh look, this car's got ABS brakes. Yeah. Same thing with like Ford trucks back in the late 70s and early 80s where it has EFI or whatever on it from its heyday of having carburetor-built engines to fuel-injected engines when they made that transition back in the 70s to early 80s by putting those badges in the car. And the SR in Midnight Purple, not really Midnight Purple, is it Latvia Purple? Lantana Purple. Is this like for McLaren's, I believe, that I use for this paint job here? So for the SR, I did add some aero fixtures with the... I didn't like add fixtures, just some like 3D invisible fixtures at the front end to generate some front aero, along with a change of the front bottom grille to make it more aggressive and sportiness with this little 90s AIO type of grille setup that we got going here, this mod setup. Add a hood bulge to make it even more badass and sporty, as well as going to the sides, blacked out rims, SR badging, and a turbo badge to show you that it's turbocharged. With the GH20 IT, what's it make, like 156? 167 horsepower, damn. For the sides, we got a somewhat basic but still aero-generating quarter automation, quote-unquote, side skirt that we got on the side of the vehicle, along with a spoiler attached to the hatch of the vehicle here, which I believe is declared as an actual wing, yes. In the interior, like I said, just red accents, as per usual, red accents, with the door cards, the armrest, and I did swap out instead of just red and black. It's now black and red for the seats, for the back seats, as well as the front seats of having red on the inside and black on the outside, with a red almost all the way leather-wrapped steering wheel, red on the outsides and black on the insides. Now for the last car is the Ueno Quartz Gen 3 version, hence the III, so you don't get confused with the II or the Gen 1 Quartz. So pretty basic, of course, the SE, plastic bumpers on the front, plastic collar bumpers on the front, as well as the back, with these door cards, door trim, these bumper door guards here on the sides that starts from the front, goes from the sides, and goes from the back end, as per usual. So quick look at the front end, it's pretty much a basic-ass design with a huge grill up front, very large headlights, and a small auxiliary grille at the bottom with these fog lights that are currently covered up because it's the frickin' poverty model. For the back end, this will scream Holden Commodore. I believe it's the VN model that I got here with the taillight design of how I inspired to make the back end. So the back end, mainly the taillights, scream Holden Commodore with how the taillights are at, including the turn signals and reverse lights on the vehicle. Same thing with the, kind of like the Ueno Tribal, a little plastic custom type of design that we got here, along with a license plate dead center, where this little customizable decorative plastic trim is at, along with the little lights on here to see the license plate in case people at night can't see what it is, who you are, or what up. Now going to the back seat, of course, cloth everything, and for the interior too, with the dashboard. I did want to like pimp it out and go a little bit more all out with how I want to design the dashboard rather than being a GM and keep copying the 80s dashboard for the Tanny, then the Tribal, and then put on this car. So I used the modern modular dashboard setup with the dashboard by putting on the top, middle, and the bottom dashboard pieces together, as well as the center console and the back armrest to make up the dashboard of the vehicle, along with these custom gauge clusters here with the RPM tachometer, speedometer, cooling, fuel, oil gauges, including a little gear shifter reminder what gear you are thingy, showing you that you're in first gear, second, third, fourth, or fifth of what gear that you're currently in as of right now and in real life, how it should work. is it highlights of what gear you're currently in for all the 5 gears for the manual transmission. The SL in its gray glory has, of course, like the Tanny is having... oh, hold on a minute. Alright, fixed the side trim, so kind of like the Tanny is having chrome all over, front, back, and sides, along with having the stereotypical abs for the SL lineup for having ABS brakes. In interior, pretty much nothing really changed except for the climate control. So the climate control back then with the SE model had the 80s slider kind. Can I please go down, please? So it had the 80s slider for the SE model, and to make way for the 1990s and to luxurify it is that I added the 90s dial fixture to make it more modern and everything and cooler compared to the sliders version here. So yeah, nothing much has really changed except for the gear shifter here being an automatic and the Prin 321, and for the little gear shifter screen here, instead of being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like the manual transmission, we got the PRND 321 gear selector, like your current gear where you're at, and it lights up pretty much on the screen to show what gear you're currently in. And also forgot to highlight about this engine is that they added another variant called the LK16IM, signifying that it has a multi-point electronic fuel injector to improve power and fuel efficiency, which instead of being at 90 horsepower, now we're at 96 horsepower, which is a 6 horsepower improvement from the original LK16I model of the engine. And finally, for the SR version, so starting with the front end, add a basic front splitter that does generate aero, of course, because of it being a fixture, aero fixture in specific. And I forgot to mention with the SL, so unlike the SE model where it had the covered fog lights, the SL as well as the SR has the same exact fog light setup for the front end of the vehicle with the bottom grille section here. So same grille setup for the top grille, bottom grille for all 3 models, but the SL and SR has fog lights. So the sides here, we got a basic, super duper basic, quote-unquote side skirt to generate aero for automation, which I don't know if it's going to make a big difference for BeamNG Drive that wraps around the entire side of the vehicle. Got a turbo badge slapped on the door trim, which is all plastic for the, no, it is plastic. Blacked out rims, and same kind of rear end setup with the SR badging, and this low-level spoiler, which is indeed a spoiler that it claims in automation. So basic rear spoiler for the back end to generate aerodynamics and to make it more sporty SR-y for this car. And the insides, the usual red leather seats, black accents in the middle for the front and back seats, and the armrests as well as the door cards. Also with the armrests here, with the SE model, it does not have powered windows for the front of the vehicle here. See that this is a coupe. Because the SE models, of course, had the hand crank windows, the SL and SR has powered windows. Got power windows up front for the coupe models, and the SL had power windows for the back for the sedan version of the car there. Also with the SR version, I did add a boost gauge that is right above the gear selector screen to show, of course, your current boost rating, which I do not have it set up to calculate the boost rating for BeamNG because you have to do some like black magic with the little description thingy here and tell what fixtures you want to move for BeamNG, like have the RPM gauge move, the speedometer also move too, the fuel gauge, the temperature gauge, the oil gauge, like all this stuff move and be interacted with in BeamNG. I'll probably look into that and probably do something like that for the futures, have working gauges with the little trim description thingy here to make that happen. So now let's go into summary screen, and the only problem, rear dampers are hard. Let's go and complete the design and market the cars and get the cars, engines, and everything scheduled for all of the models I've built. So starting with the EK series engine, so it claims we have about 39 months of engineering time, so over 3 years. Since the car is going to take a while, I'm going to make this reliable in a way, maybe 40 months. Let's see. I guess let's do 40 months. Let's not do anything crazy with the slider. So 40 months for the EK series engine and engineering time 51. What, for the entire engine in general, I believe, all of our 3 engine variants? So we got to sign out, I believe, for all of the engines, the EK60i, IL, and IT. Which the I, is it going to do this again? Did this happen earlier? Like, there was something stupid? Click to design. Okay, now we're good. I think it goes believe I did that when I made the mistake of adding dual overhead cams. Thinking like I can swap heads from single overhead cam, then dual overhead cam for the IL and IT engines, but it has to stay single overhead cam for all 3 of them. So the Tanny, the actual car, is 51.3 months. So 5 years? No, 4 years. A little over 4 years and 2 months, 2.5-ish months. That's if I were to do something to the sliders to make it even more longer, like 52 months, to get this car up on out of here. Let's do 53.5 months because this little K car will take the least amount of time to engineer and everything. And also, speaking of engineering the car, also I forgot with the SR model, I did have the top speed changed to 84 miles an hour to go in line with the Honda Beat, which I have a screenshot right here for proof. Which was necessary to improve the fun factor and hopefully make the car sell better for the future. So the EK vegan? I guess seeing we got over $2 billion, let's add a staffing facility to... No? Help? I can't? Oh, whatever, we can't add a staffing facility as I wanted. So, EKI, IL, and IT. Up the QA by, let's do 83.1 to reduce chances of recalls by a smidge. Our engine's done by the year of January of 1991, so first of the month, end of the year, the EK engine will be done. Which is the legal 660cc engines, because by 1990, like I said earlier, that's when the 660 engines became legal. So, Fruity? Because it's a medium engine factory, and I might as well make a medium factory, like put the car in here. Galvanization plant. Might as well. We got the money. Yeah, we got the money. And click on the cars. So the SE, engine overworked. We're good. And look at the profit margin, possible profit about 10,000 per unit, I believe. Like, what's really the number? Possible profit, calculate a compare cost, trims, dark reference, and include trims. So, what if I start with the SE? It does numbers. The SL in general still does good numbers, and the SR, less numbers. So, this is an all-round, pretty decent K car that we got here. And they expect us to make a loss the first year, but make big buck by year 10, with the SE being at 541, 608 for SL, 851 for the SR. We'll just do 579 and no longer a loss, and we'll make a little bit of a better profit there. So the SL will be 99. No, 89, and the SR will be 99, I think. Let's see how these numbers will work. If not, just do better numbers, get good. Not the biggest a big difference, but seems alright for a profit margin for this car. I guess we'll finalize the profit margins for this car, the pricing setup, and 1981 the car will be done for the Ueno Tanny. But let's not sign off yet. We gotta do the Tribal and the Quartz too, and finalize this here project. Going on to the Ueno Tribal with the LK series engine, 51.3 again for Mark II? We'll keep the sliders, might be stupid, keep it as is. And this will stay at the Cranky engine factory for the Mark II facelift of this engine. And it seems like we're overworked as of now, so we're not going to do carbureted. So it's going to be I, IM, and IT and get rid of the C carburetor model. And that's it for the LK. By November 1990, the overhaul, not the overhaul, but the facelift of the engine will be done, but we are overworked. God damn it. Now the Guitar Hero 2-liter engine. 81.4 months? yeah, this is what happens when we make a V6 for the first time in this series, and for this company too. Well, let's manual the engine. Let's do 70-something months. Make it a reliable, help. Might as well do 80 months, 79.9, YOLO. And no choice but to go to the Frunia tooling plant. So produce I and IT, and it needs Forge and Ironworks. I already have that, don't I? Oh no, not a Forge Works, because of the forged steel crankshaft. Let's see how this project is, and then we'll expand to offices and facilities. So let's see how this works out. Average cost almost 3K 2.94 for the configuration of both the I and IT engines. March 1993, the two engines will be done. Jesus Chrysler and Mitsubishi partner up together. So the Ueno Tribal will go in line with the Nutty assembly plant, which will replace the Ueno Slate City car. And we are overworked the LK engine. God damn, man! But this could change when the Fire Nations attack, so GH is overloaded. SE. The GH is no longer overloaded. The SR. The LK is overloaded, but the GH is not overloaded. Well, YOLO, I guess. 5,000, 5,100 almost. This car gonna be a mid. The SR is gonna do some numbers, 11,000. The SE is terrible at around 2,500. And the SL is at about almost 8,000. And yo, frickin' SL is at 20,000. But we're making good amount of money, but this is wrong, Chief. So the SE is dirt cheap. The SL is wine buck, like expensive. And not only that, the SL is more expensive than the sporty SR model. Really? So SE will be 7.95, SL 10 grand, SR, let's do about 14, 13.9. How will this work? We're gonna make less money, but it's more reasonable. Less reasonable, especially on the short run. We're gonna be losing a little bit of money, but better off later on. So for the travel cost with the SE, I'll make this at $7,999, the SL at $10,003, SR at 14.2, which will make micro losses in the first year, but it should do very well off by year 2 and above, hopefully. Looking at the graphs here. And we should have the car of March of 1993. This car should be done. And I'll believe one more to go is, yes, the Ueno Quartz, the Gen 3 model, which will go to the Chunky Car Factory. And we are overworked, so we would like to party. Oh, just click on the cars, damn it. So, overworked. I'll look into upgrading this to a large 2 for the Cranky Engine Factory, to reduce the maximum load of both building the Ueno Quartz as well as the Ueno Tanny, to hopefully not be overly stressed out and everything to get the engines up on out of here so there's no delays or nothing like that. So what happens if I complete the design and look at the other 2 cars here? I know, 1990. So looks like we're gonna be just under the batching load for the Ueno Quartz. Can I confirm this? Yep, it's confirmed. We're just under the batching load with the new factory upgrade. And you can say the same thing to the Nutty assembly plant with the Ueno Tribal, as the LK engine is right below the matching load and the GH V6 engine is well below that threshold. So after the upgrade, we should be good to go. Now going back to the Ueno Quartz, so starting with the SE, not too bad, 10,005, and going to the SL. Oh, yo! Ueno Quartz till it frickin' dies. 22,125 profit per unit, I believe. The SR, okay, but it's not SL or SE level. So all cars combined makes 12,718. Not that bad after quality threshold to 12,709. And again, losses. Why is the SR cheaper than the SL? This is stupid. So with the new numbers, about 35, this and that. So it appears, look at the long run, losses again. Like loss and then explode after year 2. I gotta do something about my numbers here, like make some drastic changes, man. Even clicking all these buttons here with the set of the margin to their, like, affordable price margins. Let's see here. Do I have to, like, be more aggressive with my pricing? Yes. I think from now on, I'm gonna be, like, hyper-aggressive with my damn pricing. But why is the SL, like, stupid higher than the others? Alright, to be reasonable. 10.4, 13, 16.8 for all 3 trim levels. Making less money, but semi-reasonable. So, yay profit at year 4 over $1 billion. Damn, that's what we're talking about, but we got to consider about expenses and everything. Of July 1982, the Ueno Quartz will be done. I'm going to probably edit the Tanny, the station wagon real quick, the estate. So adding $1,000 to all of them, so in -86, 102. I'm going to probably round this up to 89.9 for the station wagon. Let's see here. Alright, how about this? 979, about 12. We'll call these prices final, so what the hell are you doing, Graph? So, yeah, la-da-doo-dee-da, dies and comes right back up by year 8, 9, and 10. Whatever, these prices will be final for the Ueno Tanny. I believe final in everything here. So, it appears total projected cost $1.2 billion. But we got over $2 billion in the bank right now, so we're not going to do a loan. Double check everything. So Travel's all good, Quartz is all good, Tanny's all good. The engines, GH, EK, and the facelift LK engines with the turbocharged engine and omitting the carbureted one. So let's sign off on the projected projects, hit agree, and not take out a loan, and let's advance time until something really stupid happens, or to release the cars, make big buck, no buck, or whatever, and wow, the Ueno Tanny is going to wait till 1989 and end till all the cars are done, 1993. So, March 1983, the Tribal, Quartz, and Tanny will all be done. And I'll probably pause by 1984 or 95, where I made the Gen 4 Ueno Quartz body, which should unlock within these 2 years. Because, like I said, the car is all done to design everything. I did it in Sandbox, but I got to import the fixtures from the Sandbox into the career mode. And then I'll, of course, do everything by making the SC model, SL, SR. I'll probably, like, maybe add, like, a few more trim levels, like how I mentioned, like the SE, LX, SL, GT, SR, and then the top-line performance model will be, of course, the Type E, E-Type, S-Type, or whatever type. I'll probably think about it when that next video of the Automation Campaign series comes out in the near future. So currently there's nothing new to report in terms of anything bad is happening, but we got all 3 cars are in the engineering phase as we're currently losing $1 million per month, but on the other hand, we're about to be cracking, let's see here, is it this month? Ooh, almost, but it seems like within the next few months, we're going to be cracking almost at $100 million per month, which now we cracked $6 billion in the bank as of right now for a company. So we could really just ball out in our spending if you have to go like twin turbocharging, go for like carbon fiber cars or something like that, damn near race cars for the streets. We could probably consider something like this for the future in the next video when I get the Ueno Quartz S-Type and all the other cars all built and all that stuff. Including adding dedicated sports cars, like actual sports cars, kind of like your wannabe Toyota Supra, and the nowadays GR86, Grade 86 for Toyota. Like, make actual sports cars for the company instead of just relying on the Quartz and whatever car I want to build, and another car I want to build for this condensed campaign series for the game here. I'm probably going to add a 4th factory by building in, like, probably Gasmier or whatever, Archana, and build a dedicated sports car factory. And what the hell happened? Cranky Engine Factory has a quality issue. Is it about retooling or else? We got 100,000 engines of, well, 9 months were flawed for the LK engine. Cost to fix is high, goddamn. Well, sorry people, let's do a full recall. We can afford it, but I hate to see it happen. So that recall just broke the $100 million per month streak, and now we're back on track. I mean, our freaking prestige is way above the normal world average. We're at a 13.1. Worldwide, it's an 8.9. And what is this here? Reputation. 23.5 versus 12.9 for the competition. And not only that, this should be the time that we can see... We'll slow down. I would say see that all the factories will be shutting down in way for these new 3 cars in the retooling phase for our factories. And, 145 mil. Oh man, is this the truth? Oh, whoa! We found a new method in the game to shut down the factory and make a higher factory. Oh, this is the engine, right? So, warning, the frickin' LO12, 10, LKPI, I, and C engines are gone during the retooling phase. So, Fruity Assembly, let's see, 13.3, yeah. So, we once made over $100-something million a month. Let's slow this way down and pay attention. $123 million with that shutdown and retooling. And we are gonna be normalizing. And we're going to be making losses. Can you agree with me, people? You agree? But we got over $8 billion. We should be good. Yeah, we should be good. 57 mil. How about this loss? So we got all these engines that are not in production as the nutty assembly plant. Shysters, 86. So, K and cash again. This is the retooling phase, and by the next few months, all the 3 cars will be available for the market, and 57 Chevy. Alright, 1 more month to go of all these losses, and the cars should debut, right? It's March. The LK Mark II, EK Mark I, Tribal, Quartz, Tanny, and GH engines have completed engineering and should be live next month. Like, live in terms of seeing profit margins, expenses, all that stuff. So, it's going to be April, and let's see, profit or loss. Ooh, 133 million. Here we go. Next month. Let's wait until 1994. Let's see here. Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. $8 billion, $122 million. And goddamn, the Ueno Tribal, the Quartz is doing 65.7, Tribal 55.9 million, and the K-Car 14.7 now. It was at 14.8-ish. So let's ride out for a few months and see where do we stand. So let's just 2 times it. So this is August, this is September, 128, 104 million. Ooh, okay. October is 125 million. November, but it's kind of like variable. November is 102 million. And December is 121 million, and we're going to be pausing on the start of January 1994. We wrap up at $96.3 million of $9 billion and $9.03 billion in the bank for our company. So an excellent start at first, but we're kind of on a decrease of our profit margin, just some freaking heart rate monitor, and we're trending a bit downward, and expenses have stagnated. So if we check out the yearly financial report, just to get an idea, I'll probably have to go to the actual finances. So finances for years behind. Damn, revenue at first was $422 million in 1985 with the Kuma, Quartz, Quartz 2, Slate, and all the other cars. So by the time of 1986, which I believe the Quartz 2 was released, right? Yeah, Quartz 2, Libra, and Slate just steady increase and then decrease by 1991-ish. Once those cars had become outdated and everything, and then just drop because of the factories being shut down and engineering for all the 3 cars until an explosion in revenue, and then just up and down, roller coaster ride for these several months here. Expenses, watch this. Look at this. Boom. Freaking car production. And what's this? Return deposits? Huh? I think that was for the recall of return deposits, I believe. It doesn't say other than this return deposits. And then after that, explosion of revenue, or expenses. And what the hell happened here? Oh, these are the recalls. Like, this is the recall. I think this was the recall. What about this for return deposits? I don't know, but an explosion of expenses right around here with the car production, engine production, especially with the engine production upgrade, and then just general upgrades to car factories, engine factories, and this and that to get over $300 million on average in expenses. So yeah, a excellent launch, and we got enough freaking money in case we heavily screw up and get ourselves canceled in the next video of getting the Ueno Quartz, 4th gen Ueno Quartz, especially with the Type S model that I have in the back here. That you gotta pretty much import it, like I said, all the fixtures and everything. So is the body available before we export the cars to BMG? So we go to the new car project and let's do family. Let's just get an idea. Is the car body ready? Oh yeah, I believe it's called EU Sedan. I gotta go back to that car. I believe it's this kind of car body that I use for the Ueno Quartz S-Type. The car that pretty much started it all for this series here, but it was made back in my Mr. Jack 000 days in 2021. So yeah, the car body should be ready, and this should be it. So anyways, that'll be reserved for the next video. Let's get all 3 of the cars, the Ueno Tribal, Ueno Quartz Gen 3, and the Ueno Tanny into BeamNG Drive, the SR models, and see how they perform in that game. So here we are at the modded map of American Road North Barstow State. I believe that's what the map name is called. And here we are at the wannabe Top Gear test track with this portion of the map here with the Ueno Tanny SR ready to go. It's just going to be a simple one-lapper around this here race course. It'll be for the Ueno Tanny, Ueno Quartz, and the Ueno Tribal, the SR models only. So let's get ready to hit the gas here for our first run with this car in 3, 2, 1 for it. 5,000 RPM launch, we go into first gear, into second gear, and so on. And what would be the 0 to 62? And that turbo sounds a little bit brutal. So in our first turn, still 0 to 62 in 12.46 seconds of 729.74 feet. Not too bad for a K car, especially a sports K car. And a little bit of let off there. Left there. Ooh. Ooh, that body roll. That rear left tire was off the frickin' ground. Okay, left there. Brake. Ooh. I blame body roll and not playing this game for a while because I got work IRL, which is pretty much a real reason why my uploading scheduling has been terrible recently. Whether it's for the main TRIZE channel here, or the It's TRIZE here, more of a breaks here, vlogging automotive type channel that I'm still trying to get myself lag worked on. Because for that channel, the It's TRIZE here, because the only video I got as of right now is the Nürburgring Nordschleife vlog of me driving on the Torstenfahrten with the Volkswagen Golf, rental car, the Volkswagen Golf rental from the rental agency Ring Freaks. And am I supposed to go that and left? Yeah, I'm stupid. Because what I got planned for the future, other than just having that Nürburgring vlog, is to experiment with one to see if speeding is worth it or not worth it by going 5 miles over the speed limit, 10 miles, and by going to the speed limit, including many other things along the way for that channel. So, we get a time of 1 minute, 48 seconds, 77 milliseconds with the Ueno Tanny SR. So, can I just change configuration and load? Yes, I can for the other car. Let's do the Ueno Tribal, the station wagon. On second thought, I might as well use the Ueno Quartz because it has the 4-cylinder turbo and not the 6-cylinder found on the Ueno Tribal. I might as well just go by least powerful to most powerful. So for the Ueno Quartz, in 3, 2, 1. Red line launch we go, and 0 to 62 will be no problem compared to the Ueno Tanny. So 0 to 62 in 7.74 seconds, nice, of 437.74 feet. And unlike the Tanny, 90... Ooh, oversteer, oversteer, oversteer. Watch out, kids. And no ABS brakes. Deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Nice drift recovery. But to say, I had that oversteer. Like that. Like that. I'm about to say, unlike the Ueno Tanny that had a speed limiter, but with this car, it's rugged and raw. It is what it is without, catch that drift, without having a speed limiter whatsoever, trying to stay in line with the Japanese K-car, like, legal limits of having a speed limiter, power limiter, and so forth. Because at first, I limited the car to 75 miles an hour used to the speed limiters on most K-cars back in the day, but I did refer... Again, a lag right there. Is like a graphical issue at that spot or something? I would say I was referring to the speed limit to the Japanese K-car like regulations and restrictions back in the day, but I decided to refer to the Honda Beat as well as the Suzuki Cappuccino by using their top speed rather than having a low top speed and made the car possibly sell poorly because of it having a speed limiter and a low top speed limit in place. So I believe it was a good idea to improve the speed limit to 84 miles an hour just like the Honda Beat, and a time 1 minute 38 seconds something milliseconds. It's still going. 1 minute 38 seconds, 498 milliseconds, and we beat the second place car now of the Ueno Quartz SR, my sports hatchback, kind of the Toyota Celica. So, pretty oversteery type of car, but it can be controllable if you're in the right hands and know how a damn car drives. So change configuration and load the final car, the Ueno Tribal. Alright, so the final car, and ooh, I'm really digging into this color here, this metallic-y look, and damn. These freaking seats are hella shiny. Are these really leather, or like, did I make a mistake with the cloth seats? No. These are leather. Damn, these are like too bright up in here. So anyways, let's start with the Ueno Tribal, our V6 powered car, in 3, 2, 1. Redline it. Front wheel drive we go, and first gear, second gear, and 7.10 seconds, 0 to 62 in 385.38 feet, and goddamn, this engine is pretty loud, and again, no ABS brakes, and front wheel drive, so... Ooh. Not a whole lot of lockiness with the brakes. Not that bad. So the brakes didn't lock up, unlike the Ueno Quartz, where it did lock up, and where we got a little bit of understeer because it went in a little bit too hot right there at that little corner. I believe it's called the Detroit, ain't it? Or Chicago, if I'm learning my corners from freaking Automation, not from Top Gear themselves, into Hammerhead. Ignore the missing... There it goes again with the freaking graphics. It's like a graphical issue with that spot or what? So terrible corner entry through, I believe it's Hammerhead, even though I kind of corner cut a little bit. Just imagine if the barriers were there. If I would have hit the barriers, then it would have been game over, and I would have to go again. And I believe the freaking Tribal is going to smoke my Ueno Quartz. So down the final corner, 1 minute, it's a 133 car, I swear to ya. Front wheel drive supremacy, bitch! Well, it has a turbocharged V6 engine compared to a 4-cylinder engine, so 1 minute 33 seconds, 18 milliseconds compared to the Quartz of a 1 minute 38 seconds, 498 milliseconds. I swear to God that the Ueno Tribal will be my flagship car, unlike the Ueno Quartz. Damn, so a 133 for the Tribal, 138 with the Quartz, and a 148 with the Tanny, the K car. So, free roam we go. Do our victory lap by smashing into something in the distance in full time. Tree! I thought the engine broke. I thought the cinematic camera, like the crash cam, will slow down as I hit the tree there. So, car held up poorly in the back, and yikes. So, for the final parts for all three of these cars, let's go down to the good old Car Jump Arena, the paid mod version of Car Jump Arena, made by the same mod author responsible for the original Car Jump Arena map. So, take it to the top of the new ramp in the map right now. So here we are at the top of the ramp here with all three of the cars here with the Tanny, Tribal, and Quartz. We got a 4 light and a 5 light, so we're ready to go here in green with the green lights. Ueno Tanny, this will be the SL lineups for the Tanny, Quartz, and Tribal models of the car because, well, we already drove the SRs around the track. We might as well drive the SLs down a ramp and commit KYS. So, 149 miles an hour right there into... Gotta slow down. I don't believe the... Ooh, 20. So about 220 meters. I was about to say the cinematic camera isn't gonna do jack, so... 220 meters right there. End over end. Really end over end. Yes, sir, indeed, end over end. Tire's broken, on our 4 wheels, was on our 4 wheels, and shut the engine off, sleep with the fishes. Water skipping sound effects? Was that been there or what? Alright, that is car number 1, the Ueno Tanny. Let's go up to the Ueno Tribal. And red flag, screw you. Why is this V6 so loud? So a decent 0 to 62 in 7.81 seconds, and I just noticed there's an ECS at the bottom right. Hold on, and... race car of a speed 159, so 10 miles an hour more compared to the Tanny of a speed, or excuse me, a distance of 326 meters. Not too bad, about 100. There's the cinematic. About 100-ish meters more compared to the Tanny. 4 wheels, drift, deja vu in a front-wheel drive car, and stay away from the water. Shut the engine off and wrap it up with the quartz. Go. Red flag, I don't care. 20, 50 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 25, 30, and so on with the naturally aspirated 96 horsepower inline-4 engine. And not the 140-some horsepower engine that was pretty reasonable for this type of car. And the speed even more, 164, so more compared to the Tribal, and of course, well, more than, including distance, than the Tanny. So 400 meters. Exactly 400 meters, just at the marker. Wow. There it goes again with the damn cinematic. So hit the roof twice. End over end on our roof. So 2 roof impacts and hit our roof. And really? Sleep with the fishes? Not anymore. And again! Can you stop with these cinematic cameras? We already get it. We went end over end, we spun like a top, and there goes a plastic piece, or a chrome steel piece, is it? So let's start off with the aftermarket destruction vehicle with the Tanny K car. So the seats are still in, except for the back passenger seats. So if you're the driver or passenger, front passenger, you'd be okay, but what if I go to driver cam? I should probably configure this in the future. So the driver would survive, including the passenger. Back passengers would be ceased to exist. The Tribal had held up somewhat well, except for some roof structural damage with the roof and everything. Missing tire, crinkled front end, and the seats held up well for all seats there, front and back. And lastly, with the quartz going end over end, roof over roof, we got the chassis and everything pointed upward more towards the sky. The back end's heavily destroyed, and if you see the ear, we got the engine exposed. And can it drive? Yaw. Yaw, it can drive. Yaw, look at the tire. But can it really drive? No, but we can make our own, like, dyno run with this tire barely off the ground. Like a frickin' millimeter until it makes contact, I swear. Nice burnout. So with these 3 new cars, the Ueno Tanny, Tribal, and Gen 3 Quartz, starting with the Tanny, it's a fun yet practical K car that's within the strict K car limits of Japan. The 660cc inline-3 engine provides a good balance of power and fuel economy. With the SR model of the Tanny, it's a good sports K car, good for tossing it around the track, despite the nasty body roll that comes with it. For the Ueno Quartz, the Gen 3 model is a decent car to drive. The lesser trim levels have an engine that focuses more on fuel economy and less on power. In terms of its handling, if you have the front-wheel drive model like the lesser trim levels, you wouldn't have any problems with the car oversteering, unlike the SR model, even though that was rear-wheel drive. Finally, with the Ueno Tribal, that car was surprisingly great to drive. The SR model with the turbo V6 turned out to be more agile and quicker than the Quartz. The brakes could use some work, but I think I may have found my new flagship car. In the next video, I will have the Gen 4 Quartz with the S-Type model in the campaign version to see how well that does in the auto market and how much it improved from first building that car over 3 years ago. So anyways, that'll do it with Automation's light campaign version 4.2 and BeamNG Drive. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future. So this is TRIZE Rising Up and signing out.